called my quilt. As I faced my Maker at the Last Judgment, I knelt before the Lord along with all the other souls. Before each of us laid our lives like the squares of a quilt in many piles. An angel sat before each of us, sewing our quilt squares together into a tapestry that was our life. But as my angel took each piece of cloth off the pile, I noticed how ragged and empty each of my squares were. They were filled with giant holes. Each square was labeled with a part of my life that had been difficult. I saw hardships that I had endured, which were the largest holes of all. I glanced around me. Nobody else had such squares, other than a tiny hole here and there. Their tapestries were filled with rich color and the bright hues of worldly fortunes. I gazed upon my own life, disheartened. My angel began sewing the ragged pieces of cloth together, threadbare and empty like binding air. When the time came for each life to be displayed, held up to the light, to the scrutiny of truth, my gaze dropped to the ground in shame. I have not acquired earthly fortunes, but I had plenty of love in my life and laughter. But there had been many trials of illness and death along the way. I spent many nights on my knees in prayer asking for help and guidance in my life. Most time I was asking for help in getting through just one more day. And now, gazing at my quilt, I had to accept my life for what it was. I rose and slowly lifted my quilt to the light. The other souls gasped in awe as they looked upon my quilt. Then I looked at the tapestry before me. Light flooded the many holes, creating an image, the face of Christ. Then our Lord stood before me with warmth and love in his eyes, and he said to me, "Every time you gave over your life to me, it became my life, my hardships, and my struggles. Each point of light in your life is when you stepped aside and let me shine through until there was more of me than there was of you." May all our quilts be threadbare and worn, and may God bless and keep.